Hi, Keisha here of New World Tarot, and thank you for joining me today for another vlog. So firstly, I hope you had a wonderful Halloween, a wonderful Samhain, a wonderful El Dia de los Muertos. You know, that time has come and then come to a close. And so I really hope that you were able to enjoy it with spirit, with friends, with family, with your coven, or whoever else you wanted to share it with. You know, I'm already looking forward to Halloween 2020, which by the way, will also be on a Saturday and will also be a full moon. So how intensely magical is that? Full moon Halloween. I can't wait. And I also want to thank everyone who came out to see me at the East Pasadena Avenue Fall Fest and Spooky Saturday two weekends ago. And it was such a great time, and I really enjoyed being a part of it and just enjoyed meeting wonderful people and watching lots of costume kids and costume animals, and it was a lot of fun. So thank you again for coming out and being a part of that if you were. I appreciate it, truly. So here we are at yet another full moon, and this time it arrives in the sign of Taurus. So the full moon is, of course, the phase of the moon cycle where the moon reaches its fullest incarnation. You know, she becomes round and bright, and it's a great time to harness this gentle but powerful time to really step into our greatest power. And one of the greatest ways to become more powerful is to actually illuminate our shadows and illuminate our shadow self. And we can either then heal and release this, or we can heal it and harness it for the greater good, okay? So this full moon, again, arrives in the sign of Taurus. And Taurus is the sign ruled by the bull, all right? It is an earth sign. And it's traditionally a sign associated with earthly success and earthly abundance. And people born under the sign of Taurus are often people who have a good head on their shoulders, you know, and this can come in the form of good, sound, common sense, you know, or it can be a head for finance or business. And, you know, the planet Venus really rules this sign. And Taurus loves to be surrounded by beautiful things and beautiful people. That planet really comes through at this time. And one of the mottos of the sign of Taurus is, I have. Okay, it's I have. And this sign is very much about owning things and collecting things and having possessions. Now, there's nothing wrong with having beautiful things, but you obviously, you know, this energy can become both intoxicating and, you know, addictive and highly toxic as well. And that can happen very quickly, which can be a problem, you know, because our society encourages this behavior very aggressively. So this full moon in Taurus, we're going to investigate the shadow side of this energy. Now, in our very capitalistic society, a great deal of power and weight is given to wealth. And wealth is measured in one way only: how much money you have. You have only to start watching YouTube. And especially if you're like me and you like watching spiritual videos or philosophical videos and business videos, you know, in a matter of time, you'll start to see all these ads and you kind of be inundated, you know, with these financial gurus that come on, like, you know, let me show you a tour of my house. You know what I'm talking about. You know, they're like, let me talk to you and tell you about how I'm the only person who knows how to do this. And I'm going to take you from, you know, opulent room to even more opulent room and show you all 5 of my Lamborghinis and all 3 of my Bugattis, you know. And I'm not saying these people are scammers or evil necessarily. They could very well be legit business industries, you know. But the rampant, unabashed materialism, you know, there's a lot to take. And you know what? These ads work. You know, they work. And these people are getting paid handsomely because people want what they have. And, you know, most people are chasing the big money, and they're chasing the symbols that tell the world that they have big money. Now, again, I'm not here to say that there's anything wrong with that in itself. But I do believe that our minds and our hearts have become hijacked by society. I think we've been trained to want things, and not just want them, but actually addictively crave all of these things, kind of like sugar, like crack, you know, as in like really sell our souls to get them. Now, money and possessions, you know, or rather a lack of money and possessions, This is often cited as a main reason for unhappiness. And people constantly state, if only I had X amount of money, I'll be happy, And I've been right in that boat as well. Same as everyone else. And what's interesting is this amount seems to always go up. I was actually taking a course recently by business coach and personal development coach, Srikumar Rao. Okay, and he's a phenomenal source of light and wisdom and information. And he mentioned that among executives in industries like banking and finance and whatnot, unhappiness and discontent actually increased when they were promoted. And at first, this doesn't make much sense. But the reason for this is because, say at like the $200,000 a year level, if you're at that level, you're doing pretty well. And you're probably among, at least comfortably among most of your peers, you're doing, either what everyone else is doing, or you're doing better. You're probably on the upper end of most of the people that are around you. Okay. Now, if they started to move into a higher income level than that, they actually started rubbing shoulders with people who were doing better than them. And these people may have things like private planes and yachts and, their own island, like crazy stuff like that. And by comparison, these very, very well-off people that previously were confident what they were suddenly felt poor and unworthy and self-conscious next to these wealthier people. And I thought that was a very interesting observation. And it's also really eye-opening and so sad at the same time. And I bring that story up because it tells us this. It tells us money can blind you. And it can blind you very easily. It can blind you to all that you already have. It can blind you to all that you already are. And it can blind you to what you really actually want in life. Money is a tool that can strengthen you. It's supposed to strengthen you. But it so often weakens us instead. And in fact, it can actually enslave us. So what is money? Well, it depends on your perception. The most truthful and universal definition of money is that it's paper and metal, that's given the special designation of enabling our trade system. It just enables trade of services and goods so that both parties are satisfied and that commerce can go forward. Okay. However, in a capitalistic society such as ours, which is truly centered around money, money is truly the spoke of the wheel, or the axis of the wheel, rather. It's the very center, it's the nucleus of the cell. Money has become so much more than that. It's become a symbol of power. It's become a symbol of class. It's become a symbol of importance and of self-worth. It's become a symbol of self-worth. Emphasize that enough. For example, we have been systematically trained to defer to and more highly respect and kiss up to people who have, a lot of money. And we've heard time and time again from people who have a lot of money that they are used to being catered to and treated a particular way, even when they misbehave and treat people badly, simply because they have lots of money. I mean, I feel like our sitting president famously even said that, and it's the truth. And speaking of presidents, we have two of the most unpopular presidential candidates running. Why did that happen? Again, money. And it has become, when you only take your candidates from a very, very small, billionaire class, what you get is not what's best for the position, not what's best for the country. You are picking from a small group of people simply based on the trade of money, and that's what we get. We get unsatisfactory candidates. And so hopefully we realize that this is our money deference, our money worship is causing issues. So with the power of this, with power that money brings, even if the money's not doing anything, the fact that people have money, it's basically their calling card in society. It's why people hoard money, because just having it, saying that you have X amount of money, that you're the third richest, the fifth richest, the second richest, the richest, it's a calling card. And in a world like this, isn't any wonder that so many of us are depressed about our finances, even if we're comfortable and doing well. Is it any wonder that so many of us have low self-esteem and that we have self-worth issues? when money seems to be the main determination of how valuable we are to the world. Social media is just full of people showboating their possessions and stating how much money they're making and this and that. And this causes constant comparison, and we become disheartened and frustrated and angry and jealous. But having money for the sake of having money, to be admired and have your boots licked, this actually is rarely a true goal of most people. Now, there are lots of people who have made it their goal, certainly, but what studies find time and time again is that this is a false goal, that this is a goal that society has trained you to have. And studies find again and again that the accumulation of money for the sake of accumulation of money will never be enough on its own. Now, is it better to be rich than poor? Hell yes. And anyone who says otherwise is crazy or a fool, all right? Abundance is good. Abundance in all things is good. However, a goal to be super rich and have all sorts of things and that alone, just for that is more likely than not going to make you happy, because it's not really your desire. There will probably be an initial, kick of adrenaline and exuberance, but it will most likely be a superficial icing on the cake. And eventually that's going to fall off and evaporate. Now, this full moon in Taurus, I want you to take the focus off of money for just a moment and ask yourself, what do I really want? If money were not an issue, what do you really want? Now, this can be tricky because, we've been, again, like we've been saying, we've been brainwashed with wanting money and a comfortable lifestyle. And this is literally the backbone of society, with so many of us slaving away to 8 to 5 plus, 8 to 6, 8 to 7, 9 to 10 jobs, these grind jobs and we do this because of the promise of a good lifestyle and possibly some raises that will keep us where we're at or get us to where we want. And society is very, very much invested in making sure we're all addicted to money. Like, that's definitely a truth. But you need to scrape off what society wants you to want and look deeper and really rediscover what you want. So how do you do this? Well, step one is to figure out what values you desire to feel. For example, if you want to be rich, why? What do you want wealth to give you? For example, a lot of people will say, I want to be rich so that I can have freedom and do what I want. All right. So you don't have to be rich to have that. Perhaps you can actually get or create a job that enables you to do what you want while getting paid. All right. Now, will suddenly being rich make it easier? Yes, of course. But you don't have to wait until you're rich to do that. Make a list of the top 5 things that you want to have. Okay. Now, once you have that list, step 2. So step 2 is to describe what that means to you. So for example, if you say you want to experience more freedom, what does that mean? Because this means something different for everyone. Do you want to travel more? Do you want to learn the guitar, become trilingual, breed horses? What would you actually do with that freedom? Freedom can be a curse that can lead directly to depression, For example, if you suddenly won the lottery, you quit your job, and then you just sat around watching Netflix all day. Like, you would probably degenerate and probably become, a millionaire who was in a worse mental and physical shape than you were making $400K a year, last year with a job. All right. So it's all about what you do with that freedom. We all know, of real life cautionary tales where people's lives have taken a nosedive in quality despite their financial earnings substantially increasing. Okay. So money isn't everything. It's all about what you do with it. Step 3. Once you've done that, you figured out what you want, you figured out what that means to you, you're going to ask yourself, how can I start experiencing that now with what I have right now? So for example, if you want to experience more freedom, and you want to ask yourself how you can start doing that now with what you're making. So suppose freedom to you means you want to travel more. So how can you start doing that now? Perhaps you can look for meetup groups or travel clubs to join that will share lodging prices. Or perhaps you can take volunteer trips where lodging or even transportation can be covered or shared. If more freedom, for example, means you want to become trilingual, perhaps you can start with free online elementary lessons in a common language or join a meetup group. Or, if it's a very common language like, Spanish in the United States or French in Canada, you can befriend someone. or pay someone, what you're willing to teach you some of their language. Start now, and don't let money be the master of you, and don't let money stop you from living your dream. More money can certainly come, and it will make things better, but it is important to not let that stop you and to do it now. One extremely amazing book that delves into this very topic is The Illusion of Money by Cal Cease. All right, and I do not get anything from recommending this book at all. It is just a wonderful spiritual book about money and your dreams, and it's absolutely wonderful, and it's funny. Kyle Cease is, he has a background in comedy. He's been in several movies. He had a very big stand-up career for a while, and he actually stepped away from it to become a spiritual teacher. And it's wonderful. And it's a message that I certainly have heard before, but Kyle is actually a comedian, and he just puts it into such a perfect, compact message. And I just really, really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it. Okay? So, before we go, I want to talk about a tarot card very quickly. And this is the Five of Pentacles. All right. Now, the Five of Pentacles is definitely one of the most hated cards in the deck. And as you can tell, it is traditionally associated with poverty and struggle, and a lot of people get it and they're like, oh no, not that one. But again, like all of the tarot, it has so much goodness to teach us, especially when we truly dive deep. And in a moment, I'm going to actually have some pictures of Five of Pentacles tarot cards up on the screen for you in a moment. Now, the Five of Pentacles is associated with the sign of Taurus, and its hermetic title is the Lord of Material Trouble. Now, although this card is often associated with monetary loss and poverty, I see the deeper spiritual side of this card as being, like its title, Material Trouble. And this material trouble implies any unhappy, unharmonious, and troubled relationship with the material world. And this includes poverty, it includes perceived poverty, it includes jealousy of what others have, and monetary slavery. And I see this card as representing any unhealthy relationship with money and material assets. All right, now I have 4 up here, and I'm going to go through them super quick. So the middle one is, of course, our original Rider-Waite-Smith Five of Pentacles. This is one of the most common, one of the most famous ones. We obviously have the 2 figures outside. We, obviously this just is steeping with poverty and just cruelty and just being on the outside of society, not being where you want to be, and just not having any money and not having any assets and being frightened and cold and alone. You got the beggar. We have the her companion. Obviously, he's on crutches. He's in need of medical help. And I think he has leprosy, this little bell around his neck, which I think is for lepers, warning people to keep away from them. Okay. To the right of that, we have the Five of Pentacles from the Steampunk Tarot. And this is, even more realistic version, but very, very close to the original Rider-Waite-Smith. We have the 2 beggars again. And this looks like even sadder. To me, it looks like orphan children. It's the Victorian era. It could be the mother and a child, but I'm getting 2 orphan children, an older sister and her little baby brother, on the streets again, poor, cold, alone, and just in need of help. Okay, so in both of these, you can see the stained glass window of the church in the background, representing, that the fact that spirit is there, that it represents a focus and a total immersion in material, the instability of the material world. And you're turning your back and not looking at the spiritual warmth and comfort and, shelter that's available to you. In the far left hand, we have from the Alchemical Tarot, the Five of Coins. And this Five of Coins card is one of my favorite depictions of this card. And the creator and artist, Robert M. Place, has maimed the left leg of this beggar for a particular reason. For him, the left side actually represents the spiritual side, represents the connection to source. So this man has crippled his left leg crippled. So that is symbolically representing that he has lost his connection to source, lost his connection to spirit. And he only sees what's material. He only sees the insubstantial material world. And he's very unbalanced and lopsided in that way. And what does being crippled on the left side, what does it mean? What does it mean when you have lost your connection to source? Well, on the ground, we see he's actually has coins on the ground. And he's got his arm extended to receive, you know, money, to beg. But actually, if he would use his intuition, and he would actually pick up on the fact that he actually has things, he has help around him, but he's blind to it and he can't see it at all. Okay. And above that, we have the 5 of coins from the Alice Tarot, which is up top. And right away, you may look at this card and be like, this card doesn't look so bad. It's just in a beautiful, well-forested, you know, lots of flowers everywhere, little deer. By comparison, image-wise, it doesn't look nearly as dire as the other. It stands out like a sore thumb. However, this actually is, you know, on closer inspection, is one of my favorite 5 of coins cards. I think it says a lot. And and you kind of have to know a little bit about the story that this is based on for it to make sense. So this is from Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. And this scene is Alice with the fawn, but they are in the forest of forgetfulness. And as the story goes, Alice found herself in this forest where she can't remember her name. She can't remember who she is. She meets this fawn who also can't remember who he is. He talks, of course, because, you know, it's a Looking Glass world. And they talk to each other. And they're trying to figure out who they are, and they go through this forest, they can't remember. And when they get out of the forest, they suddenly remember who they are. And Alice remembers who she is, she remembers her name. The fawn remembers who he is. He remembers he's a deer. He remembers that deer don't like people, and he runs away. And it's a cute and, you know, very cute story, very much at home in this. But the lesson of this is so mind-blowing. And to me, the 5 of coins, the 5 of pentacles it's a time of confusion and not remembering who you are. It's about getting lost in the illusion. We get lost in the earthly plane, which is, you know, the forest of forgetfulness. And we become overwhelmed. We forget who we are, and we lose our control and we lose our power because we forget that we have power, and we just give in to the illusion of a powerlessness and the illusion that where we're at is all that matters. And again, when we leave this earthly plane, you know, I believe that's when you'll recall who you are and step into your power again. But why wait until then? Most people do wait until they leave their life, they leave the earth, and then to step into the realize that it was all an illusion the whole time. But why wait? You know, step into your power now. And to me, that is the lesson of the 5 of coins and the 5 of pentacles. Okay. So, and again, you know, this card is actually associated with Mercury. It's Mercury in Taurus. And Mercury to me is all about the mind. And it's all about our mastery of self and our dominion over the earth. Okay. So those are key issues to unlocking and getting out of the 5 of coins territory. And the beauty of this card, you know, is that it's a 5. You know, we may be in trouble right now, but we're in trouble because of what has come before, what we have done. And sometimes the, circumstances have changed and our reaction to circumstances have not been good, but it's temporary. The story isn't over. We're just at 5. We can fix this and we can come into balance with money again. Okay. So one key to fix our relationship with money is to fix its place. And we don't have to live just to get money. You know, we can live to be joyous and fulfilled and free and to change the world. And money should be a tool in that equation. It should be a tool, not the only tool. And it should be a stepping stone to a goal, not just the end result. Okay? So I would like to do a quick bridge draw, just connecting us to financial freedom from, and releasing us from the misery and the oppression of the 5 of Pentacles. All right? So I'd like to have ourselves, as students of the material world, represented by the Fool card. And we're going to actually use the Alchemical Tarot, which is actually a deck by Robert M. Place, which I really enjoy this deck. It's a beautiful deck. And for us, you know, being that, you know, again, we are students of life, okay? I'm going to have the Fool represent us, okay? Being that we have so much to learn and go forward. All right. So I'm going to, of course, have, we just looked at this card, the 5 of Coins, okay, represented. But I'm also going to have this 5 of Coins is going to be crossed by the Sun card, okay? And the Sun, of course, represents clarity. It represents illumination and joy and success and the release of fear and the release of, you know, tension. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to have the Sun, or rather the 5 of Coins crossed by the Sun as our end result. Okay. We want to release the 5 of Coins energy with the illuminating power of the Sun card. Okay, so how do we, you know, the Fool, get to this point? Okay, so I'm going to pull 2 cards, and in a moment as well, I'm actually going to have this up for you on the screen. Okay, so we have so much to learn, and we're open to new adventures, we're open to new experiences, and we're open to what the world and what spirit has to teach us. So how can we just illuminate and burn away and clear away our bad and troublesome relationship with the material world, our troublesome relationship with money and possessions and just all that toxicity? Okay. All right. So firstly, we have the 2 of Staffs here. And we have the 8 of Vessels. All right. I'm going to have these up on the screen for you shortly. Okay, so for our first card, we have the 2 of Staffs. And this is a beautiful card. And what we have here is, how I see it, is 1 has become 2. Obviously, this is the card following the Ace of Staffs. We're now splitting in 2. And to me, this card is all about passion and desire. And it's all about knowing what you want and seeing where you are and asking yourself how to bridge the gap, which is kind of what we spoke about a little bit. And it's about being very clear about what your true desire is when I see this card. Like it is truly about burning away what other people may have placed in your card. This is very, very much a card of the self. And it's very much a card of what makes you burn. It's a card of what gets your heart going, what gets your soul going, and really what makes your heart race, and what you're truly passionate for. It's about literally burning away, you know, all of the mud and the debris and the sludge that society has placed on you as far as what your goals are, and truly getting down to what you want and what lies at the base of it. I also associate this card with self-reflection. This card to me is associated with looking at yourself, you know, just knowing yourself and being comfortable with yourself and knowing what you actually want. It's about letting your own fire burn. And we also have the 8 of Vessels, and this card here, we have a little symbol here above on the wall. It looks like right above where our potter is making a pot here. And this card actually differs in the Alchemical Tarot a little bit differently than the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith 8 of Cups usually reads. This 8 of Vessels is all about, it's about work that moves your spirit. So it's not about work that pays the bills. The 8 of Coins in this deck actually is a card that is very much about that mundane work that most of us are so, whenever we think of work, most of the world, when we go to work, it's doing something because this is what pays the bills. This is what keeps the money coming in, keeps the lights on, keeps the bills paid. But this is actually about work of the heart, and it's work of the spirit. And that symbol on the wall above the vase is the symbol for the animus mundi, I believe is what he calls it, which means spirit. It means God. And this card means that God is actually spirit, the universe, that his higher self, whatever you want to call it, is actually moving through him into this work and shaping these vessels that he's making. And again, this is just about doing what moves you. It's about doing what you feel and doing what you're passionate about, what you feel you're here to do. And you can certainly do both. You can certainly, just do something to that brings in the money, pays the bills. And you can also do work that fulfills you. The best thing is to bring those together, if you can manage both of those things together. But if not, if for some reason, you don't know how, or you feel uncomfortable with it, for now, keep them separate. But whatever it takes, make sure you're also doing the work that moves you, and there may come a time where you're able to bridge both of those and bring those together into one. Okay. So again, you want to follow your spirit and just do what moves you. Do what calls you, know yourself, know what you love, and know what your desires are, as opposed to what the world wants you to want, and do that. And make sure you're using that desire, because there's a reason you have that desire, and it's in you for a reason. You want to contribute to the world. Follow your love, and don't let money get in the way of that. Okay, so do it now. You can certainly do more of it if you find more money and more time, but do it now with what you have. Make it work. Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me today for this full moon in Taurus vlog. And I wish you the best of, the rest of your month here. And we will meet up again for the next new moon. And I wish you happiness and health and peace and just a joyful time with spending it however you want to spend it. All right. So thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time. Take care.